Hello everyone and welcome back to a new episode of the OSCP journey. Today's episode we're gonna solve a Windows Active Directory easy machine on HackTheBox called support. So we start with SMB enumeration, then we find an executable, but Kali Linux doesn't support running Windows executables out of the box. So we install Mono. After installing Mono, we run the executable and we capture the LDAP packets in Wireshark and we see a Cleartext password. Then after taking the password, we enumerate through BloodHound, and in BloodHound we see we are part of shared support and we have generic access over the DC. And with those access and permissions, we can add a computer and make a delegation attack and then pass the ticket attack where we get a ticket as an administrator and we get the final flag. So let's get started. First of all, I try to run all the scripts that I like to have. First of all, let me get the IP and run the export all. So if you are new to this series, I have a function called export all to export the IP to all panes, all tmux panes. Then I run my script as well. You can find that on GitHub. No-Auth authentication SMB, which runs under the hood SMB client, RBC, and NXC, netexec. And I would run No-Auth, Kerberoasting, and let me add the domain over here as well. I will add it, export all, domain. So I haven't ran nmap as well, so let me run nmap. So we see we have 445, 139. So we have SMB running over here. We have DNS. So let me add that support.hackthebox. Then I enumerate DNS with this. So we see over here, let me run all the scripts and No-Auth, Kerberoasting. So we provide the IP and domain. So I would like to start with Kerberoasting, and please use the first one. So we got two usernames. I'll try to keep that running for a little bit. And let's check our SMB enumeration. So we see here we don't have SMB1, so no blue key. Blue key? No. Blue something, I forgot the name of that SVE. Then here we see enum for Linux, nothing interesting. These are the shares. So admin, C, IPC, these are high privilege default shares. We cannot access them. Netlogon, sysvol, these are, I would say, domain related shares. We can enumerate them to get, for instance, GPOs and so on, but not as a low privileged user or specifically not as guest or null session. And here we try null, anonymous, guest, nothing interesting. So anonymous and guest, I believe they are identical. I need to edit my script to fix this issue. And here LDAP, nothing interesting. Okay. So here we're trying to install the files through SMB client under the hood, and let me check. So cd results No-Auth. So let me check the usernames. Okay. So actually let's clear them. Cat usernames, or let me grab them. I would grab, or maybe AWK. Catch this within usernames. clean.text. But to print, I believe, second one. Let me cat clean. So yeah, and let's see clean. So administrator, we don't need that. DC machine, we cannot most of the time crack their hashes, and these default groups and accounts, we don't need them. So here our users, the ticket granted ticket, we don't need that for now. LDAP, that's interesting. We don't usually have LDAP as a user. And support, okay. Anonymous guest, okay, that's great. We press G twice to go up and D twice to remove a line inside vim or new vim. And let me clear that. So here we have clean.txt, and let me check downloads, or let me check what's happening over here. So with Kerberoast, as we see, we have found support and administrator and so on. So let me go to No-Auth SMB and provide the clean one. So No-Auth Kerberoasting, and over here I will type rbcd.py and the custom path. Within the custom path I will provide clean.text. So clean.text, and none of them is ASREP roastable. So what can we do next? Let me think about it. Probably let's check the DNS. So we have 2 IPs. That's interesting. Let me check what are they. So support and support. Okay. Let me then add that to etc host. So add host, our IP, DC support, or I will add just support. Oops, no. Support.HackTheBox and dc.support.HackTheBox. Let me add the new IP, and let us check that again. I'm just a little bit confused. Okay, let us take nmap and copy that into our notes. So as I've told you last time, now we are improving our content and we are adding everything to our notes. So within notes, we see 53, 88, SMB, LDAP, WinRM, and so on. So let me remove those. Oops. Remove the checklist if I can. Okay, so SMB, Kerb, LDAP. So Kerb, no ASREP. We still can find probably Kerberoastable. So we try this. Oopsie. And Kerberoastable. Don't quote me on this. And LDAP-S. Sometimes we need the S. Oops. And let's get back to here. So let me check what do we have over here. So yeah, we have only one IP, and over here nothing AS rep roastable. What can we do as well? No-Auth. Let me check my commands. Kerberos SMB. I believe I added No-Auth. Maybe LDAP or auth LDAP. Yeah, it's authenticated, so we still don't have anything. So let's get back to our SMB stuff. Cd into downloads, and we can list everything, but not downloads within here. So we see the ls for long, and h for human readable, a for I believe hidden files, and r for recursive. So we see all the files within all folders, and here we see an executable. We are not that interested. 7-zip, a portable version of it. Wireshark portable, so probably that person works as a network administrator, or maybe a sysadmin or an IT guy. And over here we see an executable as well. We're not interested. So we need the zip. So I'll make directory. Oops, let me go into there first and make directory user.zip, or no, user zip. Make directory sysinternal suite. Maybe we have something interesting or a hint within the zip, but I won't do that right now. And let me make directory. Now that's portable as well. So let's start with user, since it's the most interesting one. Oops. What is this? So let me move user info. If I may type that correctly. Because I'm typing cd. So user info zip into user, what's called user zip. So be sure to include that last one, otherwise you gonna rename your zip to that folder. And if you did that, you can reverse that and get the exe.zip extension. So to unzip the zip, you use unzip and the name of the file. We got all of these files. Let me clear that and ls-la. So within our directory, we see DLLs. Let me cat all.dll, grab password before one, after one. We have nothing. Maybe only pass, nothing. pwd, or something like that. Also nothing. Okay, let me check. So again, we have an exe. That might be interesting, but I'm more interested with the config. So let me string userinfo.config, but I'm gonna use tail. Why? Because sometimes the config or the exe or any file you try to use strings or cat the file, it might be so long that it would crash your terminal. So that's why I always like to use tail, and if something interesting, I would run the whole string. So over here, we see a public key token. That might be interesting. So that's not our way in, probably, or surely, but I like to keep those stuff over here. Might be an attack vector, might be an okie dokie, and I like to type over here public key. So let's get back to here. So we see a UserInfo.exe. Okay, what does that mean? We need to run this executable. We have two options. One, to use Oracle VirtualBox and to run a Windows machine and to move the executable to the Windows machine and to run that over there. Two, to run the executable on Linux. To run that, you have, I believe, several ways. One of them, the most popular way, it would be through Wine, which I extremely hate because of my experience with it with DaVinci. So I discovered that we can run mono. If you don't have Mono, which doesn't come out of the box with Kali Linux, you can run sudo apt install mono complete, and I believe everything would be fine. If not, please leave me a comment section and we can fix that in Discord. So after running sudo apt sudo apt install mono complete, we type mono, and over here mono UserInfo.exe. So we are running the executable in our command line interface CLI. So we have two commands, find and user. Let's type user, required username. Type username. We'll ignore it. Something failed. We get an information about a user. Let's type Strikoder. No such object. Okay, so it's making a query. Let me check the other function. Find. We need a username. Strikoder. And no such object. So here user name, I typed that correctly. Okay, let me get back to our first one. So this and this, how they differ. User, because I had find. Alright, so we can type this and no such object. But under the hood, if we check, if we check Wireshark, we see other stuff. How did we know that we need to check Wireshark? So particularly in OSCP, you don't have any time to run Wireshark and you're all time focusing on running enumeration stuff and searching for passwords and exploitation. So what I had was, I don't usually type that in my Etsy host, and when I ran this, so I had a connect error. So I thought about it, and why do I have a connection error? So probably it's because the DNS cannot resolve. So how to know that DNS cannot resolve? Through Wireshark. Try not to choose, as usual, the ETH0, because you cannot resolve correctly. So if to be sure, let's type here over DNS and to send this again, and we see a DNS query. So I know that's our way in. Let me add that again, and we don't, I believe, see that now. No, we don't. Now we see LDAP. That's interesting. So let me filter by LDAP. And we see a bind request support symbol. Symbol? What do you mean by symbol? Bind request, version 3, name support-LDAP. Support-LDAP. Where did we see LDAP? With our enumeration. Is it here? Let me check. So results No-Auth and clean. Let's get clean. So here our LDAP. So LDAP user and authentication. So probably this is our password. Let me copy that. Do we have any? I hate blue team stuff, and probably you are as well. I really hate them, man. Value. Yeah, okay. So LDAP has this password. I usually do bold, underline. And if you are interested, you can add them to user pass. If you want a link to this template on Notion, let me know. I'll send you the link in the comment section. And I usually add them here in order for further enumeration or password spraying, but yet we have only one or two, so I'm not that interested. So what I usually do as well, export all, user equal, what do I have here? Oops, let me get back to here, LDAP. What's happening? And export all, password equal, or pass equal, and our pass over here. Why do I have to jump forward? So something is not running. Okay, because I need to provide that in a single quotation. Otherwise, I don't really know what's happening. Let me clear everything and echo pass. Where is our sign? Okay. So is that correct? Yeah, since we have the signs, then probably they are correct. So what can we do now? So we have no authentication Kerberos, and I have authenticated Kerberos. No, I believe I don't have authenticated Kerberos. I need to type get SPN, get user SPN maybe, in packet, get user SPN, and over here support LDAP, and the pass over here, and the DCIB, and we add dash request. So adding dash request over here means that we are trying to authenticate and trying Kerberoastable, trying to get the hashes as a Kerberoasting attack, not as ASRIP. So no entries found. I tried to type that, so auth. I don't need to mark that. Kerberoastable, we don't have anything. LDAP, I believe. Did we try to enumerate LDAP? I forgot. Oops, I got out. So No-Auth LDAP. Or auth, yeah. So it's authenticated. So let me try that. And we got the results. So what does this script do? Under the hood, it uses LDAP search. This is the query. I have that in my notes. And we're specifying dash 3Ls to omit the additional hints or additional information. Dash X dash H, the usual stuff, and LDAP, you can add LDAP S in some cases, and you provide the username, the password, and so on, and you save that into the file. So let me clear that. I need to keep that in my notes. And over here we see we have 3 files which represent the, I would say, the results that printed out to our terminal. So here we can be sure 100% that there is no false positive, no disabled account. These are the accounts that are 100% running within the domain. And let me check the results. So cd results LDAP auth. And we have 3 files. What are these? Let us check the first one. This is the file that we have all the users with all the information needed. The next file has the users with info. That's interesting, with info field. So here we get everything together. We get the info over here as well. If I see that, yep, over here. But here is in a separate file, so we have the ability to see which users. So I would say in a large Active Directory, it would be harder to catch everything within here. And the last file for the field password not required, which HackTheBox Academy cover, an interesting field, which means either that the user doesn't require a password or doesn't require the amount that you see in the password policy. Interesting. So let's get back into our second file. We have support, the SAM account name, and this password. So let me copy the password and I will type the name here. Support, this password. Let me remove that and make this. And let me remove these as well. So I'm gonna export all user2 support and export all pass2. I'm gonna put them in a single quotation just in case. And what do we have as well? So let me get back to here. Probably we are finished from within here. Okay, I got out. And now I have authenticated SMB, I believe. Yeah. But I would like to run that with our second user. Oh, alright. Since we have two users now, let me turn off Wireshark. We don't need that anymore. I like to keep up with what I have bound, if you know what I mean. So make directory BloodHound and cd into that and sudo. Do I have that with sudo? BloodHound. Let me check. BloodHound. So yeah, sudo BloodHound Python. And with these parameters, so you need to provide the username to, pass to, domain, and so on. So now let me check. We have an issue. We have an issue. What is our issue here? So with the backup operator, okay, this user doesn't have access denied. So the summary over here, this is not the summary. Okay, so we need to check what we had. So access denied, guest, because we're still David. Who is David? Echo user2. Who is David, for God's sake? Export all, user2 equal support. Okay, that's strange. Didn't happen to me before. So let me run that again. Once we see bound, then we are on the right way. Okay, so if we want to search for bound, let me search nxc winrm, but here would be user2 pass2. So we have bound. That's great. We can use winrm and try winbees, try power up. However, this is a Windows Active Directory machine, so probably that's not our way in yet, but we can enumerate further if we want. What we want is to enumerate through BloodHound as we made the results, but where I saved it here, right? Yep. So let me check. So if you want to run BloodHound, I have BloodHound CLI and I have that through Docker. So Docker compose and you install BloodHound from within BloodHound directory on GitHub. Oops, GitHub. So you install or you make git clone. After cloning this, you install Docker and you are clear to go. I believe I have that running, if I'm not mistaken. Localhost 8080. So yeah, BloodHound is running for me. Be sure if you have any error that it might be intercepting with burp, so turn burp off or make a restart. And here I have data for the previous machine because I'm prepping for the OSCP and I'm solving 2 machines a day. Confirm. Go to file ingest, file upload, home, retired, support, BloodHound, and the zip. We upload that and we wait. Most of the time I don't really know why. Please, if you know, let me know in the comment section. Here I have cancelled almost always the first time, so I need to upload the files again in order the status to be completed. Let me check over here. So here, nothing interesting. Here all the groups that we have. Nothing interesting. Spidering, okay. Sysvol. So Wi-Fi, PuTTY, PowerShell history, Lassie, RDC man, backup operator, nothing. Nothing. We don't have anything. Okay, that's good. Oops, where did I go? So SMB, auth is not our way in, LDAP, auth is not our way in. So probably we still have BloodHound and WinRM. So WinRM, BloodHound. I don't need this. Oops. So let's check. Let me go to BloodHound. So that's great, complete from the first time. What users do we have? We have LDAP and we have support. LDAP, add to owned, and support. So in case you don't see support over here, which is the case, just add over here and add to owned. And I like always to start with all Kerberoastable users. Nah. ASREP also nah, which is logically because we ran our scripts and we found nothing. RDB nah as well, but we can activate RDB through NXC if we wanted. Shortest path to domain admins, nothing interesting. So I like to start with all the cipher stuff over here before choosing the shortest path, because once I go deeply into shortest path, I don't go out. So let's start. So as we can see, we have LDAP, we have support, both of them members of several stuff. So what does remote management users mean? It means that we have access to WinRM and we can authenticate through either WinRM or through NXC and get a reverse shell. Shared support accounts. What does this do? So this is a new created group by the admin or by anyone on the Active Directory. This is not, that's interesting. This is not a usual group within AD. Okay. And we have GenericAll over the DC, which give us access to the domain. So our way in is extremely simple. We press on Linux abuse. You can authenticate through either WinRM and try that if you really want, but I like to keep the video as simple as possible. And let's read that together. I'm sorry, I cannot zoom in over here. So let's copy this all together to my notes and gonna paste them over here. So first, if an attacker doesn't control an account with an SBN set, in our case we don't, a new attacker control computer account can be added with packets add computer, by example add computer method LDAP s computer name, so attack system summer 2018. What is the name of domain controller? This is right. Let me check. DC. So how did I know? Because how did I know that I'm searching for this field? Because I saw the $sign. So let me edit that over here. DC. And over here support.hackthebox. From nmap we have that, and the support.hackthebox, the user and the password. What user do we have? I'm gonna go with support. I believe he has more privileges than the other, and we are part of the shared support group within this user. What was that? And here we type support. Alrighty. So what can we do as well? We need to configure the targeted object that the attacker control can be delegated. So we are making a delegation attack. No, it's a resource-based delegation. So not a usual delegation, which is made by a computer. So probably by the computer account that we had. I'm gonna move this into here. And finally, we can get a service ticket for the service name. We want to pretend to be an admin. In bucket getST example script can be found below. Alright, so let me start with this. I'm gonna type this, and fingers crossed, invalid server address. Alright, so what do we have over here? DC support HackTheBox. I believe we don't need that here. Still invalid. Support, the password is correct. Support HackTheBox. So let me export all domain and run that again with here domain sign. Well, that's interesting. Maybe if I try to give the DC IB. So now we have another error, SSL wrapping error, SSL. So probably because the LDAP, let me change it to LDAP, error, choose SAMR. Okay. SAMR. And yeah, we got our computer. So in some cases, which is our case over here, we need to run all the scripts as fast as possible because the computers get deleted, I believe, every 5 minutes. So I will run them and then explain. So over here, rbcd delegate from our new computer, delegate to the DC, which have the delegation over the DC, right, action, right, domain, support.hackthebox, user is support, password. Let me get that fast. So now we are allowed to delegate. Now please make me a service ticket. This is our attack system and support.hackTheBox administrator. I want to impersonate that, and here I believe DC HackTheBox support.hackTheBox. So no such file or directory. Once we have such an error, I type unset and then run that again. So it failed. Yep, it failed, probably because it was removed. So I'll add that. Already exists. Okay. That's interesting. Let's read. So probably user attacker system doesn't have constrained delegation permissions or impersonated user does not exist. Okay. Maybe something is not correct. Administrator. Have I mispronounced that? Administrator. Nah. Maybe over here because of the dollar sign. So yeah, because of the dollar sign. And now we have this. So this called a ticket. So we need to make pass the ticket attack. You can either do secrets dump or authenticate through PsExec. So I would do the PsExec one. And over here, I type this. Nah. Maybe because I need to export that. So I export, I believe, K. Nah. R. Let me check our export. Something starts with K. Yeah, this. So I need to export this. And then you can type PsExec. So what are we typing over here? We are trying to authenticate through that ticket with this user over this DC. And we have our flag. Oopsie. Nah. Let me go over here. So let me go back. CD users. Why didn't find that? So users would be in the end. Because we're still in Windows. So cd LDAP directory, cd desktop. We type, alright, where is our flag? Inside support. Well, let me type that. Type support desktop. Oops, user.txt. Let me check. So I typed that in the browser because I can edit there. Still not correct, probably because I have forward slash. Why is not correct? Let me check. Support. Let me go to there. So I hate not interactive shells, but it's okay. So cd desktop, and we see our user. Probably I had a typo over there. And we go over here. I put the flag. So currently we have the administrator flag. And after submitting the flag, I'm gonna explain what we used over here, what each one has done. So if you are interested, wait a little bit until I submit the flag. If you are not, then you are free to go. Cd into desktop. Directory, type root. Okay. I will not submit that yet because I'll finish the video by submitting that. So we added a computer. That computer called attack system, a machine called attack system with this password. Be sure to comply to the password policy. Sometimes this might not work. And we are providing the credentials. As you can see, we provided them once, and then we don't have anything to do with this user. Then we are making a delegation, a resource-based delegation. So we are telling the DC, where is it? So we are telling the DC, no, here we are providing again the resources. We are telling the DC that, hey DC, please, this computer has been added to the DC, to the domain, and allow him to make a delegation from you. So here we provide the DC. I'll provide the comments in the description on GitHub. And over here we are making a request to get the ticket, and we are telling that we are making a delegation, as you can say, from the attacker system, from the new added computer to the DC, and we are telling him we need to be an administrator, aka we are taking the ticket of an administrator, and using the ticket we had the flag and we had the ability to read the root flag. So that's what it was. Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to like, share, make a comment in the comment section, and subscribe. See you next time.